Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good today. Hey, it's been another beautiful day of trucking. The highways are getting a little bit more busy out there as we get closer to Good Friday and Easter weekend. So I hope everybody's watching out for those who aren't watching out for themselves. Let's remember when we get out there tomorrow and we get that Good Friday, let's keep it a Good Friday. Let's make it a Good Friday for everybody, okay? So anyway, I want to welcome you to the show tonight, and we welcome your comments tonight. If you'll call the show, we'll put you on air. The number is 229-740-0912. But before we get started, I want to tell you our special guest tonight is Mr. Tony Wainwright, and he is a professional driver. He lives in Valdosta, Georgia, and tonight's topic of our show tonight is going to be about pre-trips and post-trips, and we got some pictures and some videos to show you tonight about some stuff that's been caught on some equipment and some things that's to look for. Now, if you got a comment or something, put them in the comment line. Make sure that you give StreamYard permission so we can see your profile there. But without further ado, I'm going to bring Tony in, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. We're going to find out a little bit about him first, okay? So without further ado, I'm bringing Tony Wainwright into the studio.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, Tony, how you doing, brother? Did you have a good day trucking today?
Well, yeah, it was. I've had better, but we made it. Wonderful day in the freight business.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got into the trucking industry, how long you've been trucking, and just take it away from there. Just tell us a little bit about your story there.
Well, I've been in the trucking industry about 30 years now. I first got in the trucking industry with a friend of mine, went for a ride with him, and almost 31 years ago. A guy by the name of Ricky Rogers, and he worked for, I don't know if anybody's still even heard of the place called Pony Express. And it started from there. Went to one of those highly talked about driving schools that everybody laughs about, and the rest is history.
Right. So, have you always been in the LTL industry, or have you ever worked in another sector of the trucking industry?
No, I was pulling flatbeds for a company called Langdale Forest Products for about 13 years. We ran about 5 states. So it was completely different from what I'm doing now.
So you was a log hauler, or was it a little bit more than that, than hauling logs?
Lumber and treated fence posts and power poles.
Okay, all right. So okay. So how does that differ from what you're doing now? How vastly different is that?
Well, for one thing, we're not pulling doubles, and it was based on a one-on-one customer type deal, other than going from terminal to terminal like we do now. And I drove a truck with a IMT knuckle boom on the back of it that was probably a 10-ton unit, and it would pick up a lot of weight. And everywhere there was a farmer's co-op or a Gold Kiss in about a 5-state area, I was there. So a lot
Okay.
different from what I'm doing now.
Okay. So you was absolutely considered probably OTR back then. You
Correct.
you
Yep.
spent a lot of nights in the bunk.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to bring Mr. David Young in here, but we're going to start the show with you, and then we'll talk to David Young about pre-trips and some of the defects that you and he have found over the years. And we'll just kind of go through them a little slow, and we'll just jump right on into it. Okay.
Okay.
Let me bring David in here and introduce him. Good morning, good afternoon, David.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all tonight?
Doing good. So,
Good.
David, reintroduce yourself. You've been a guest on the show before. Just tell us quickly a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do, without telling us who you work for.
I've been in the trucking industry for about 28 years. Started off for a little electrical contractor driving a line truck. That's what I learned to drive in. Been with my current employer for 18 years. And it's kind of all just history there. I've done a little bit of everything in between. I did food service. I did beer. And this here is, I think it's the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're from Charlotte, North Carolina, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Charlotte, North Carolina, the big Queen City up here.
All right. So how's the weather there today?
Overcast and 75 degrees. We had a little showers pass through, but it's nice. It's been real nice here today.
All right. Well, let's just jump right on into this topic of pre-trips and post-trips. And Tony, I'll start with you, and I'll start off by asking you this question. How important is a pre and post-trip to you?
It's very important because safety for the equipment is tops. You got to have proper operating equipment and make sure you're not going down the road and the wheel falls off or anything else. It's just you got to worry about being out there around the public. So it's got to happen. You've got to check your equipment before and after.
Okay. Hey, Tony, we're getting a little bit of lag on your feed there. Are you connected to the internet, or you're doing cellular?
No, I'm on the Wi-Fi here at home.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're getting a little lag on you there, so it's not bad, but it's just a little bit. Okay. You want to try to knock? Can you stream on your just your mobile?
What do you mean stream on the mobile? Go to
We'll knock off the Wi-Fi.
Yes. Let's see what we can do here.
That froze him up altogether there, didn't it?
Yes, it did. He's deep in thought right now, though.
Yeah, he's deep in thought right now. So yeah.
Kind of back to the food service and when I worked for the beer company, then I become a city driver here, Tim, and that's they're kind of along the same lines, but it's a lot less stress. You're not humping food in a restaurant. You're not rolling groceries out the back of the truck door. And that's what I tell a lot of guys a lot of times when they come to work here. Well, what's it like? And I said, well, it's easier work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You back with us, Tony?
Is that better?
No, it's actually a little worse now. I'm sorry that I did that to you.
Well, let's go back to the Wi-Fi.
All right, go do your thing, and we'll be right here. Yeah, it was a little rough on him there, wasn't it? Hey,
all right. Better or worse?
That's better right there, Tony.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how that goes.
That's better right there. Okay, so we was just asking you. You was talking about how important the pre-trip and are, because we want to be safe going down the road, and especially with the motoring public around us. So, Tony, tell us a little bit about your routine and how you do your pre-trip.
Most important is you've got to get under that equipment, the trailers. That's most important. I see a lot of people that don't do it, but it's like I've told them, 90% of that equipment is up under those trailers. You see people walk around, look at the lights, and bump the tires, and that's just, you can't do that. You cannot do that. I cannot stress that enough to people. You've got to get under that equipment and look at the actual workings of the equipment.
Right. And Dave and I earlier was talking about bumping tires, and I've got a video out there on TikTok. It's called foot kick versus hammer, and you just can't do it with a foot kick. I mean, I don't have those special kind of shoes to do it to find a flat tire. So if somebody's got a special pair of shoes, I want them to comment and let me know about it.
Well, I have seen a special pair of shoes with the tire gauge tied on them. I've sent that to you in the past. Can't find them anywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
All
and
right.
I think
Got
that's
somebody else that's wanting to get on here. David, you got any questions?
Do what they're. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Go ahead, David.
A little lag there. I don't know if it's me or you, Tim.
David, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No. Go ahead with your statement. What you was going to say?
I was going to ask Tim. We see a lot of this newer equipment with the skirts.
All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and get started, Tony. Let's go ahead and you can. Yeah, I can hear you, but yeah, there's a little lag there. Oh, on your
end. You still hear me, Tim?
I can hear both of you.
Yes. Can you hear him, Tony?
Okay, is that better?
Yeah. I can hear you. I can hear both of you. There's some lag somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
All right. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Well,
there's something going on with the internet. Okay. Yeah.
Can you now?
Hey, David.
Yes, sir.
Tony, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine. It's cutting in and out, though. It's lagging some.
Yeah, we're having some internet issues right now. He's lagging.
All right.
Definitely lagging. All right. David, can you hear me? Oh boy, the internet. Y'all, let's hold tight for a minute.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, David, can you hear us? All right, David's frozen, but we're good right now. I'm going to take David down for a minute, okay?
Okay.
So let's go ahead and let's get into some of the stuff that you found over the years, Tony, and we'll just talk through them one by one, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm putting up a slideshow here, so let me add it to the stream. All right. So that's you, of course.
That guy looks real familiar.
Yeah. I kind of snagged him off the internet a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Looks like he's having a nice drink there.
I was at the same place I was at last night for my birthday.
I got you. All right. First defect that you found here. Tell us a little bit about that and what your thoughts on that was.
Well, that was found at the meet point, and you can tell that brake chamber has been busted in half for probably quite a while, and that is just a no-go for me. We had to swap dollies out that day, and yeah, that should have been caught a long time ago. I don't see that just happening.
Right. So how long did that take you to get that fixed? How big of an issue was that?
It was a major issue. That's it's kind of an out of service violation. So you had to swap dollies out at the meet point. The shop could not fix it at that time because of the parts. So that dolly had to stay at the shop.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one right here. Tell us a little bit about this next one here. The inflation system. Do you see this a lot right here?
I see that a lot, a tremendous amount. Why those things are turned off is beyond me. I know probably they're turned off maybe to service the equipment or if you have a flat tire, but or either there's something wrong with the system. People turn them off and they don't get turned back on.
Right. Hey, welcome back, David. Are you good with us now? David, are you good with us?
Okay, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what we had a problem there.
All right. Let's see here. All right, Tony, here's a big one right here that we talked about. Kind of explain this one right here to us.
Let me see if I can see it with these. Oh, that's the one where the lack of turns. Now the washer is supposed to be behind that nut, and it's not there. The lock washer.
Yeah. So you and I talked about this earlier today, and after you kind of showed me that, I kind of looked on the actual dolly that I was pulling, and I seen that that lock washer on there. So you said the lock washer was completely missing, huh?
Yeah, it was not even on there. That's to keep that nut from backing completely off if it comes loose.
Okay. All right. Hey, we got David Shuttley in here with us from Jacksonville. He wanted to join the conversation with us tonight on pre-trips and defects and all that. So welcome to the show, David. We're just kind of going over some defects that Tony Wainwright has found. How you doing, David?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon, Tim. Good afternoon, Tony.
David, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's funny. As a DDI, that's one of the things that when I'm doing doubles, that's one of the things that I actually tell my students to check for is those snap rings. And then, of course, on some of the older dollies that have a bolt that go through the nut and the big bolt to make sure those are on there. And it's amazing that that's missing. And nobody found that. Good catch, Tony.
Well, thank you.
All right, so let's move on to the next one here, Tony, and kind of let's explain it to us here. Now, I know what this one is. Everybody should be checking this one out, but I don't think everybody knows the parameters to this, even if you do have some on there. So go ahead and talk to us about this.
Well, you've got to have 50% of that bumper covered, and we have 0% covered. And as we can see, that looks like a brand new shiny bumper.
Right. Now, how often have you found this right here?
To that degree, not very often. Now, you will see pieces missing, and see the colors not lined up in uniform sequence like they're supposed to be, but none to that degree.
Now going back to what you just said about uniform sequence, for those that aren't educated on uniform sequence, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the colors have got to be equal length next to each other, red, white, red, white, red, white, all the way from one end to the other.
Okay, all right, and like you said, on the bumper like that, and David, if you want to jump in there, Shutterly or either Young, we see a lot of this with dollies being hit on the ICC bumper, and then some of the tape being torn off. And if you got 50% or less, that could be a possible violation out there. Anybody got any other comments on that right there?
I mean, that looks like a brand new bumper, and that should have never left out like that, of course. I don't know if you got it like that or if you picked it up like that. But back to before I lost my great internet here, I had a question for you, Tony.
Yes, sir.
And this is just a question in general to people. Okay, so we've got we see a lot of newer trailers on the road that have skirts. And some of the skirts, there's minimal distance between the duals and the skirt. So how do you tell people to get down in between there, to check in between the duals, to get in between that skirt and the duals, to do their proper pre-trip?
Well, if you're built like me, a little thick in the middle, it's virtually impossible. So what I usually have to do is just go to the rear of the trailer with a flashlight and look as possible you can. I mean, it's virtually impossible to get under that trailer between the skirt and the wheel, the way they've got some of those trailers set up now.
Yeah, and I've even seen vans built this way.
Mm-hmm.
All models of trailers are built this way, so they're making it next to impossible for us to look at stuff physically under the trailer unless you get on your back, crawl up under the ICC bumper.
Exactly.
Hey, go ahead.
So it's almost like a piece of equipment that discourages you from getting under the equipment, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep. Some of that equipment you're talking about, the actual tire inflation system, is actually hard to view the box itself to see whether it's on or not.
Yes, because I think in the newer stuff, it has actually moved up under in the cross member. It's not on the side anymore where you can see it visually from in between the skirt and the dual. It's actually on the cross member in between, right there above the axle.
Right.
And I'll add that, and again, with me being on the teaching side of it, I encourage a very good bright flashlight. One of the things that I talk about is, in case you can't, when you're checking your locking jaws around the shank of the kingpin, hey man, shine that flashlight backwards. If you've got a good bright flashlight and you've got those skirts that run down, that darkens everything. And if you've got a good flashlight, that'll illuminate any kind of defect that you can possibly see.
Yeah, and let me jump in here. And you talk about getting down there and being able to get between those skirts and really look at that. One thing that I found out, and David Young and those of you that have been participants in TDCs, whenever I check that fifth wheel latch, I spin right around and I look straight down there and I check out those tires from that vantage point right there. Mm-hmm. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 tires. I can see 50% of each tire right there. So I got a good visual on those tires right there from that point right there. So you can see a lot from right there. So that's another just tip that I do every day.
Not only that, but like the brake chamber that you showed right there from the get-go that Tony had found that was disintegrated. You can see those as well just by simply turning your head and and flipping your flashlight around.
Right.
And that's the thing, just not bending over and thumping the tire. You have to bend over and look.
Correct.
Right, and I think sometimes with routines get a little lazy at times, and I think that's the biggest problem with routines. You got to stay consistent with your routine and not get lazy in your routine. Let's move to the next slide here, and Tony, you talk to this right here. There's two of them right here.
Yeah, the bushes are completely gone, and those people call them trailing arms or control arms, and that could be a problem if it's left like that. That beating and banging back and forth, because there is a rod that goes through there, and eventually you got a problem there.
Right. And Tony, you showed me this, and I actually caught some of these after you showed this to me, and you'll be amazed. It just takes sticking your head up underneath there and looking at those, and you can actually see it pretty good if you know what you're looking for.
Yep.
Okay. David, y'all got anything you want to add to that?
Now, the right slide there, it looks like the actual bracket. Is that cracked, or is it just the picture?
No, it's just the picture. It's not the bracket's cracked. Just that bushing is completely gone.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no bushing in there at all.
Yeah.
All right.
And if somebody doesn't notice in those, they don't visibly see them. When you look in the mirror and you watch your axle, you can actually see the axle, your wheel, moving back and forth in your mirror with those bags.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes some folks may think, well, man, that's just my wagon wiggling a little bit, but it could be your bushings are bad. It could be just that exact. It may not be loaded correctly, but it may be more pronounced whenever it is loaded incorrectly, and then you do have bushings missing also.
Yep. Yeah. I had a trailer the other day. It's about a week ago now. It was actually about sticking 2 inches out to the left of the trailer, and it was up under the trailer 2 inches on the right hand side. So the whole suspension was caught to the left.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the next slide here. Talk to both of those slides there, Tony.
Rusted out frame on an older trailer. You can see right there where it's just cracking and it's just coming completely through.
Yeah. Okay. How about the so that's actually, is that the same picture, or is that two different pictures?
I'm trying to remember whether that was the same trailer. That was the back and the front side of the frame. I think it was. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty interesting catch right there too. All right. What are we looking at here, Tony? First picture.
Leveling arm is not even attached, so the airbags are not going to air up.
Now, how long do you think that trailer was riding like that?
There is no telling how long it rode like that. And that is not good for those airbags. We wonder why holes get put in the airbags. This is a real good reason why right here.
Right. All right. I'm going to welcome Steve Brand to the show. Steve, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. Good to be back.
All right. Well, we got Tony Wainwright. He's our special guest tonight. We're talking about some of the defects and catches that he's found over the years there. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. How you doing, Tony? David?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, Steve.
I'm tired, buddy. I'm tired. I've been on a cruise for 5 days.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah,
poor
I
thing.
don't want to hear being tired coming off of a cruise. Come on, rub it
Supposed to be well rested.
Look at that tan. Look at that tan right there. All right, let's move on to the next one there, Tony. And you guys, if you got any comments, you can jump in on any of these you want to. Okay.
Yeah, I found that. Oh, okay. You got away from the shock. Okay.
Hold on, I'm going back. Yeah, okay. We need to talk about the shock.
Yeah, as you see, that's a fairly new shock, and the whole bottom of it's gone. And I was told by another worker, no, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually experimental Bluetooth shock.
That's a wireless shock.
There you go. Yep.
So there's no telling how long that was riding like that also.
Nope. And I mean, if you look at the shock, it looks fairly new. How it came apart like that, I do not know.
Yeah. All right, next one. ABSs, Tony. This number one to the left there. How many guys have y'all seen that before?
Well, that grease flew up off the road.
Yeah.
Oh, was that what it was? Road construction?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the tar off the paving truck.
Yeah, that's a future cake decorator right there that is that's
Well,
what he's going to do when he retires.
I'm sure there's a grease fitting around there somewhere.
Oh, so how many times have you seen that, and have you seen that these ABS lights are unplugged or the wires are even cut? I mean, I've seen it, and these guys, I mean, if you're doing that, you just don't know what kind of violation that is. Shirley, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I mean, it's probably a little bit. I know with it being covered up, that's an out of service violation.
Exactly.
Because you don't know what you're covering. They don't know what you're actually covering up. Period. I mean, I think they'd rather see the yellow light, the amber light on, as opposed to it covered up or unplugged, because then they're going to wonder, hey, what else is he hiding? So you go from an inspection that's going to cover a walk around to, guess what? They're breaking out their suits and the creeper crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on through these a little bit.
Hang on. Hang on.
Go ahead.
Tim, there's one other deal there. It has to say ABS above it.
Correct.
That is correct.
That's correct.
And if you look at some of our trailers, because they've had so much trouble with the stickers, a guy will take a welding stick and just write the word ABS.
ABS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it has to say ABS there, along with the other issues we got looking at right there.
All right, Steve, Tony, the next ABS, the light's just completely missing, or is it illuminated there?
No, it wasn't illuminated. It was completely pushed out down into the trailer.
Okay. All right. So it's just hanging there, huh?
Yeah, well, it's down in the frame of that trailer. Of course, you can tell it's one of our newer trailers. And instead of getting it fixed, they just said, well, we'll just poke it down in here so nobody can see it.
How hard was it to get that fixed?
It took some time. They had to go underneath and completely clip it, put a new light on it, and then try to fish it out up so they could pull it out of the hole.
Okay. All right. Tell us about this one.
Well, that dolly was found on the line, ready to go. Where it was ready
to go, huh?
I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Well, I think that's some of that new technology.
That's what
springs.
Bluetooth springs, ain't it?
There you go.
Yes. I mean, I've found stuff like this before. I actually got a dolly one night from another driver because he took my set, so I just grabbed his dolly, and I was like, man, this dolly sure is setting low. Well, sure enough, when I checked it, both springs were broke. So it was low riding, and he didn't even realize it, So, man, we got to do these pre-trips. We got to do these post-trips. We got to make sure, that we're catching these things, and not only could it save you time, but it could save the driver next that's picking the equipment up, them time also,
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, we see a lot of those on the containers that we haul out of the rail yards. Not only are what we see picking up in Jacks, but what we're getting out of Valdosta, what we're getting out of Orlando, what's coming down out of Atlanta, what's coming out of South Florida. There's more than that's being reported, I can promise you.
Right. All right, we'll move on to the next picture there, Tony. What did you get caught in the duels there?
No, that was there when I picked the trailer up or found it on the yard. It was a big block of wood, looked like a piece of a 4x4 that was stuck in those tires.
That's a Bluetooth spacer.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Hey, Brand and Young, that is a absolutely TDC dream right there, isn't it?
Oh, exactly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, both of them are. Both of them are.
Yep. So yeah, we see stuff stuffed in the between the tires for TDCs all the time like that, and if you're not looking, you'll just look right over it. All right, Tony, next one. Got 3 pictures here, Tony. You can speak to each one of them.
Well, you can see the bolt out of the hubcap on that one, with it leaking all over the place. You could easily loosen that with your finger.
Yeah. So how much fluid did you lose out of that?
Well, I don't know how much fluid was out of it, but they did have to put some in it once they tightened it up at the shop.
Okay. And how about this second one here?
You see the spring coming out of the brake chamber. I don't think that's working like it's supposed to.
Yeah. All right. Next one here.
And as you can see again, the bushings beat out of that control arm also.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So pre-trips.
Yeah, more brake chamber stuff, the first one, you can see the jam nut is not where it's supposed to be. It is supposed to be to the back of that rod.
Yep. It is supposed to be to the back of that rod. Yep. How about that brake chamber right there?
It's on its way out. You can tell it's got a little bit of a cancer issue.
It just needed some air.
That's it.
That's to keep it from overheating.
There you go.
All right. So we're moving on to David Young's right now. David Young, talk to us about these.
Well, the first one there was, of course, the sand foot there at the bottom of the landing gear, and was walking around the trailer that was brought to me, and it was kind of cockeyed there on the leg, and I grabbed hold of it, and it fell on the ground.
Yeah. I had one like that the other day when I got back, and I'm really surprised that I didn't lose it going down the road. But it just fell off, But anyway, and here's another one of those cancerous brake chambers. We think we're seeing a lot of those now, and I think that's because of some of the aging equipment that we're getting.
That it was an older trailer. It was one of the older West Coast trailers, as we call them.
Mm-hmm.
But it had been around a while.
Hey, Steve Brand. Do you see this a lot with any of the trailers y'all get up there, especially with some of the salting of the roads and all?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And, we get a lot of trailers out of the West, and, the West has had a lot of issues this past winter. And like you said, the aging equipment, that is definitely a salt issue right there, and it should never go that far.
Gotcha. All right. Talk to us there, David Young.
You got the clevis pin in the slack adjuster there about to fall out. And then you got the swing arm bushing gone. There's nothing left of it.
Right. Okay. Now
we're getting ready to go to the Daytona 500, and we've got some new racing sleds.
Yes, sir. Now this one right here, this one caught my attention earlier.
Yeah, this was an unidentified driver. He wasn't authorized to ride, but he was there.
He looked like he had him a little warm nest there.
Yeah. There wasn't nothing in the nest, but I think I went back and asked somebody to look at the history of that trailer, and that trailer had come out of our northern parts of Canada. And that's where the nest had been.
What kind of snake was that?
What kind of what? Uh-oh. Is that me or you,
Snake.
Tim?
Yeah, he wanted to know what kind of snake that was.
No, that's a bird nest.
A bird's nest, not a snake. We lost him.
Might be me.
Oh, okay.
Picture right here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a little lag again. So, all right. Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can bring up this video file. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see here. I had it loaded earlier.
While you doing
Give me
that,
just a second.
while you
Go
doing
ahead,
that, Tim,
David.
can I ask some questions? Oh, go here. Here it goes.
Sure.
It's loading. Well, I was going to ask everybody on here, you know, which way they pre-trip, which way they post-trip is part of their routine. What works best for them?
I know for me specifically, on my pre-trip, I'm gonna pre-trip down the driver's side first, come up the backside, and then when I post-trip, I'm going around the tractor, going down the passenger side and coming up the driver's side. Only because of the way that we're taught to hook and drop. When we dropping out, we're using lap, landing gear, airlines, electrical cord, pin. So if I go around the front side and come up go down the passenger side, then the first thing I'm coming up on the driver's side is going to be my landing gear.
The same.
Okay, now if somebody stops and talks to you, do you start over or you just continue on?
No, I'll either do one of two things. Hey, give me 5 minutes, or if that happens, then I'm starting all the way over. Because the biggest thing for me is routine. And that's one of the things that I teach my students is if you break routine, then you're going to go back to it. You need to go back. Uh-oh, I done lost everything here.
No, you're still here.
Okay. But yeah, that's how I do it.
All right. So let's look at this video clip we got here. And I'm going to let Tony speak to this, okay? Tony, I'll stop it as it goes along.
Okay.
Tell us about that right there.
The stator inside the wheel. I found this trailer with the tire inflation system cut off, cut it on, and the reason they had it cut off because the stator inside the wheel was leaking. And if you heard it whistling real bad. So that trailer had to be fixed before it could go.
Okay. I'm going to let it play on a little bit. Maybe I'm going to let it play on.
That's it actually whistling. That's not the computer.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Now, tell us about this.
I know you guys have seen these 5.7 series dollies with the counterweights on the back of them. I couldn't tell you how many of these things I found with the weights loose. Maybe it'll show it in just a minute.
Yeah, I'm letting it load.
Okay. That's a big piece of metal to fall off. I've found this quite often here lately. The frame bolts on some of these newer trailers loose.
Now, Tony's got me looking at this a little closer too, because this is something that might be coming like this from the manufacturer. So he's found quite a few of these. So when you bumping your tires on the rear of your trailers, just kind of stick your head up in there and look and put your hand on these bolts. And Tony, didn't you say you found rust on them sometimes?
The first one that caught my eye did have a little trail of rust coming down the back side of it. And I just happened to grab it, and of course it was loose. And I have found one trailer that all 4 frame bolts were loose on one side.
Tony, is that the subframe on the rear?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna let it play on. Give it a second, it'll load.
How many times we found these air tanks with holes rotted in them?
Yep, and not only on the trailers, but also on the dollies, you can find these like this sometimes too. You just got to really be looking for them.
You know, it's amazing how many drivers, not only new drivers but senior drivers, don't even know how to drain their air tanks.
Right now, David. Now, David Shuttley, speaking to that, you'll be amazed at how many drivers, and especially new drivers, aren't trained to charge their system and check for air leaks. You know, they don't.
Right.
You ask them, and say, "Charge your system," and they say, "What do you mean, charge your system?"
That's one of the things that I teach before we ever move the tractor. I want to hear that governor cut off and hear the governor cut off and the tanks purge.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Before
Right.
we ever move.
Well, you talk
Right.
about the air tanks. I had one the other day. I didn't get a picture of it. The ABS valve on the back of the air tank. I heard an air leak. I couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from, so I went to the shop and I said, "Do you hear this air leak?" He said, "Well, I can't hear." So I crawled under there with him, and he got up under there, and the tank had been replaced. They didn't screw the ABS valve all the way in. So there, everything has to be taken apart on the ABS valve. The valve screwed the rest of the way in.
Okay.
You know, and it was a very small leak. Just barely could hear it.
Right.
And it shouldn't be air coming from anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Right. All right. I'm gonna play it on a little bit. It should be loading. What you got going on here, Tony?
I have found a bunch of these mounts rusted out.
Yeah. You talking about the mounts
the
on
mount.
the air tank?
Yeah, to me, it's just a real poor design the way they're mounted, because it's just like a cup if you look at it, and it gathers water, trash, and everything else that sits there and just rust. And finally, it just breaks, or the bolts rust out and come loose.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Looking at this airbag here, and you see the rust up there on this airbag here.
Mm-hmm. And if we look at the airbags, they look those bolts look fairly new on both sides.
Yep. Those have. All right. So what you see there is you see that you got some new airbags and some new stuff. So, Tony, did you get a chance to check the service tag on that? Had that trailer just been serviced?
Tim, I don't remember. If I did, I couldn't remember whether it had just been serviced or not.
Okay. Obviously, the airbags have been changed. So whoever did that, obviously they should have took and tried to fix that rust through the frame there.
Patch it or trash the trailer.
Right. Moving on. I think that's it, Tony.
Is that it? Okay. That might have been 5 videos. I think I sent you 5 videos.
Yeah, that was 5 videos. So, guys, we've almost spent an hour on this. So, I'll start with you, Steve Brand. Pre-trips, what's some good advice from you there, Steve Brand?
Well, just like David said, basically when you hook up, you go down the driver's side, around the back, and up the right. When you post-trip, go around the front, down the right side. Always charge your system. Make sure you've got, air to the system. And something I notice in my yard is guys will pull in, set the brakes, walk straight to the back trailer, crank down the landing gear, unhook the lines, pull the pin, and then walk around that back trailer. Well, you got no air to it, and you got no lights to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, I got to get me a pair of these work boots that's got that tire gauge in the nose, in the toe of it. I mean, who I mean, come on, man. And I mean, I kid a guy every once in a while. I'll say, don't knock any dirt off at you when you tow that tire like that. I don't want you to hit it too hard. I don't want you to knock any mud off your boot, But something I was going to bring up, a good site on Facebook here. It's Trooper Brent Hoover out of Indiana, and he's got a Facebook page that is called Indiana State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division. He shows a lot of videos and a lot of stuff he finds out on the road. Good guy. Someday I'm going to get to meet that man, and hopefully it's on my terms, not his. But yeah, he's got a real good spot there.
So I think I saw him. I saw him before, Steve. Sorry about that, Tim.
No problem. Steve, do us a favor. Share that on Voices of Truckers. But Truckers Voices page there. If you'll share that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. I'll see if I can figure that out there.
Hey, I got one thing before we move on, and before we get ready to close the show out. I want to show y'all one thing, and some of you may have seen this week, but let's take a little look at this video right here, okay? Steve, you might
What's going on with the truckers, man? There's a new rule, and you better have this, because if you don't, they are going to shut you down out of service. See this right here? You gotta have that! Tires! What the hell is this truck driver thinking? 10 violations and no valid CDL? What the... In this situation, I don't even know what to do. I mean, the guy already doesn't have a valid CDL. I mean, take away his non-valid CDL twice. I mean, should this guy be put out of service, fired, thrown in jail? I mean, what are your thoughts about this, mother truckers? Comment down below. Iowa Department of Transportation writes, this vehicle was stopped yesterday by MVE officers. It's not hard to tell what grabbed the attention of our officer. It's about as outrageous as we've seen when it comes to imminent hazard moving down the road. For some context, the driver was transporting this trailer across the country and was passing through Iowa. In addition to more than 10 out-of-service violations, the driver did not possess a valid CDL. These are all among the many other violations discovered as well. Thank you to all the professional drivers that do it the right way every day. Drive safe.
All right, man. Hey, he's getting with it, wasn't he?
Yeah. I want to bring up one more thing. We talked about the self-airing system. Whenever you showed that picture of the self-airing system was leaking coming out the boot, we find that a lot. So they'll just cut that system off so it ain't leaking. A lot of guys don't understand that system. If they've got the little yellow twist knobs, if they're looking at you, that system's cut off.
Mm-hmm.
If they're vertical or horizontal with the trailer, that system is active. And I find a lot of trailers that have one, maybe both of them, will be pointing at me, looking at me, because drivers will find an air leak and they'll just cut that system off instead of taking it to the shop and get it fixed. And a lot of times it's just something real simple. But a lot of guys don't, my point there, a lot of guys don't understand how them yellow handles work. As long as they're horizontal with the trailer, it's on. If they're looking at you, the system's cut off.
Right, exactly. And I find that quite a bit when I'm walking around looking at them. I think Tony finds a lot of that, and it could be from where a repair's been done on the side of the road, and they turned them off. You know, the mechanics turn them off. So that's one thing you got to look at and make sure that those things are turned on so that it is working properly.
So I bring it up about the tire inflation system. A lot of people don't understand that there is an actual valve stem on those tire inflation systems, and it is supposed to be set at a certain PSI. I found one today, a new dolly, a 13 series dolly with 4 different treads on the tires. I mean, 4 different tires, one of them being newer. So I look at that and that throws up a red flag, and I put my tire gauge on the actual box, and this dolly was set at 70 PSI. So how long has that dolly been going down the road just blowing one tire after the other because it's underinflated?
Right. Right. Anybody else got any comments?
I'll add a little bit, just only, with not only are we supposed to be doing our good pre-trips, but the post-trips are just important. That way we're not leaving something for that next driver at that meet point, leaving something for that next driver come Monday morning when he's ready to get on his run, or that city driver fixing to go take freight out in the city. We see it a lot. I'm sure y'all see it a lot in Valdosta as well. And everywhere else where, you get ready to go and, hey, you got caught by a train. So you're running 5 minutes behind, you're ready to go. And the next thing you know, you got something simple that could have been fixed on the inbound side. But yet now you've got to waste your day or waste a couple hours on your day to get it fixed before it's ever ready to roll. So the post, for me, the post trips are just as important as the pre trips.
Right, David, and I always, whenever I do post trips, and even when I'm giving RTOs, I'll try to educate the person I'm giving an RTO to post trip start out, at the front of the truck and work their way down the passenger side and go around the back, because the first thing you come to on that back box is your landing gear. And if the first thing you do is let your landing gear down, you'll never drop a trailer like that. So that's a good routine to get into.
That's right.
So I think I heard you mention that a while ago.
Yes.
All right.
And
So go ahead, David.
I was going to bring up one more thing here, Tim, and I haven't seen it yet. It's something for everybody to start looking for. The brand new trailers we're getting now, with the giant font on them.
Yeah.
The 4000 series trailers, the brake lights are actually in the top clearance lights now as well. They illuminate brighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new feature. I haven't seen it yet. Somebody was telling me about it the other day.
I think those actually go into some of the C trailers that we've got, the early C trailers with the brake lights up in the top marker lights.
Yes. Somebody saw it in one of the newer 4000 series the other day, and I said, "Well, I haven't seen that yet."
Yep.
Yeah, they've been in the new trailers for a couple years now. That when you hit the brakes, the brake lights come on, and the 3 markers at the top come on. That's brake lights. Yeah, they've been in there for a couple years. I don't remember what series trailer they started, but I really like that. Guy hits his brakes and those top 3 will come on first. And well, we're all truck drivers, so we set up high. We'll see them before we'll see the ones down below.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And real quick before we get out of here, speaking of brake lights, what's you guys' opinion whenever they set that for your Jake brake? So every time you lifted your Jake brake, come on, your brake lights come on. What's you guys' opinion about that real quick?
Don't like it.
No, I'm not a fan of that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
what's your opinion?
I like it in a way, but you can catch guys going down the road Saturday morning, wee hours of the morning when I was headed down to northern Kentucky. Guy, every time he would lift, his brake lights come on, and Beth made the comment. She said, "Why is he hitting his brakes so much?" I said, "He's not. He's lifting, and his Jake brakes activate the brake lights." So I'm kind of pro and con on that. You get a guy that lifts a lot, he's going to get people confused. But then on the other hand, I kind of like it because the guy's going down the hill running his Jake brake and it's slowing him down. At least you have some notification that he is slowing down. I mean, I'm sure you guys use your Jakes quite a bit. I use mine quite a bit, especially in slower traffic. I will use the Jake brake instead of constantly hitting my brakes. And just kind of something else for somebody to see. I don't know.
I've actually had drivers talk real ugly to me on the CB because they thought I was brake checking them.
Right.
Because they see all those lights cut on and it's nothing but the Jakes just slowing you down. You got it maybe in the first setting instead of the third setting, which is real aggressive. And
let me show you guys one more thing before we close out. It's 9 o'clock, so we need to be closing the show out here. So let me show y'all one more thing as far as defects. Wrong one. Hold on. This one.
Okay, that's not supposed.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. I like that.
That's an auto adjustment.
Yeah, well, something was wrong. I don't think it had any gas in it, so it wasn't going nowhere.
You ain't got no
It
gas
got-
in it.
It
Yeah.
ain't got no gas in it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been a good night. It was a good topic. So it's good to kind of bounce these ideas off each other and kind of see what everybody else's opinion is, and maybe we've helped educate some other drivers on here tonight. So I appreciate y'all coming on here tonight.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate
Yes,
it,
sir.
Tim.
I got one last quick thing. Anybody that competes in the TDC, remember when you're doing your pre-trip for TDC, it's time. When you're hooking up in the morning, it's not about time. It's about safety before you hit the highway. So make sure you take that extra time. They give you 30 minutes to hook a set. Take 30 minutes. Check it out. Be safe before you leave. Competition, it doesn't hit the highway.
Mm-mm.
You hit the highway every day.
That's right.
Steve, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, okay?
All right. All right, real quick, got a fast rant. I'm seeing this more and more every day. Landing gear. They're not cranking the landing gear all the way up. They're leaving that landing gear 3-4 inches off the interstate because they're too big a hurry to crank that landing gear up. I know some of these you crank, and it ain't going to work. Get that landing gear to the shop, get it greased, get it fixed. But these cats are running down the road. I seen it. We went to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Went to Miami. I rode the coach down there to the ship. What's down there? A lot of rail. And I'm telling you what, them rail drivers, 3 inches. That's it. They take them 3 inches off the ground and they take off. If they hit something, they hit a pothole. Come on, guys. Don't be lazy. Get that landing gear up there where it belongs. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So, hey, thank y'all. Good night. We're going to close the show out, and we'll see you here next Thursday at the same time, same place, same bat channel. All right. Y'all hang tight
All right.
while I close the show out, okay?
Thank you, Tim. See y'all.
Good night, everybody. Appreciate
See you.
everybody.
Yes, sir.
Hang tight, guys.
I believe in God.